Claude is we're going to get Claude to analyze your branding, and we're going to get it to come up with a brand aesthetic prompt. And then we're going to use that brand aesthetic prompt to create some stuff. Now, Claude is a bit limited when it comes to creating visuals. It can create HTML and CSS, and what that means, it can do websites and it can do PDFs and it can brand gorgeous like documents and things like that. However, it cannot generate images. Like it can't go and create a PNG. It can create a PNG, but it can't draw, like it can't create an AI graphic. There is a term for this. I do not know what it is. I am a homegrown girl. I wasn't born with a techie spoon in my mouth. I learned this stuff on the go. But essentially it cannot create beautiful images in the same way that ChatGPT, Sora, Gemini, these are image creation tools that can create beautiful images. Nano Banana, if you've heard of that, we'll use it in a little while. I'll show you. But what Claude can do is it can create websites and stuff like that. What it can't do is create the pictures that go on the websites. You have to go create them somewhere else or give it pictures that you already have, and then it will add those into the website it's creating, but it can't generate pictures. But what it can do is create prompts and analyze things really beautifully. And so what we're going to do then, I've got permission from one of my friends, Jason. He has got a website, a company called Connecting Pieces. Here it is. And he's about to do a rebrand. So this unfortunately is not massively helpful for him. And this website is Jason's website. And what we're going to do is create a brand aesthetic guide for this site. And I think it's the perfect site to use because it's fairly simple. There isn't loads and loads of branding stuff already done. It's a very simple, straightforward brand. It's not like there is loads and loads of layers to it. If you have a look on Instagram, for instance, we've got a few branded pieces like text on a plain background, but it's pretty straightforward. And I imagine that there are some people that are wanting to create a brand aesthetic guide that have something similar. Maybe you've got a website, you've got an Instagram account, you haven't spent half your life in Canva yet because that just is something you haven't had time to do. You're too busy working with your clients and doing the doing rather than working on the business, making everything look like it was created by a graphic designer. And so, branding is something that perhaps you've done and it's a one and done, or perhaps you want to revisit it like Jason does, or perhaps it's something that's inconsistent. Like sometimes you're using this font, sometimes you're using that font, sometimes it's this shade of red, sometimes it's that shade of red. And, fair enough. Like that's just how it is. We just need to put stuff out and we haven't decided on what that consistent brand is. So this is going to be perfect for you today to help you start figuring that out. But we're going to go from this place, having your brand color and your brand vibe on something so that we can analyze it. It's a really good starting point. If you don't have that, if you don't have a website, if you haven't got an Instagram grid, if there is nothing that you have created for your business at all, you need to start from the beginning, which is to come up with what you want that to look like. And I have just done that. I've just rebranded, by the way, my website, cordeliakate.com. I have built it all with Claude. And I say I've done it myself. Claude has done it with a lot of my instructions. And it's off the back of first what we did is came up with a new brand aesthetic guide and built it from scratch. And if anybody wants me to do a live show episode on how to do that, then I would be happy to. And for the purpose of this, we're using Connecting Pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into Claude. Okay, so the prompt is, I want you to describe the aesthetic of this brand in the form of a prompt. Do not describe the people, only the vibe, the tone, the style, and keep it as brief as possible, refraining from adding attention to detail on specific images or words. We just want to encapsulate the overall style, tone, and vibe. And the reason why that is important, by the way, is because what we find is that, number one, when we're asking for an analysis, AI loves detail. It wants to go into all the minute detail. It will describe so many things that aren't actually part of the brand. It's not the brand aesthetic. And for instance, it might be like, we have to have a red writing with a gear sign. Let's come back into the website a minute. We've got this gear here, right? We've got this gear thing for the zero, for the O. And it might get too specific about saying that needs to be there. Once you've generated 50 images, you're like, why has everything got gears in it. Like every single thing we produce has got gears in it. This is overkill. This is too much. And so we don't want it to get too detailed on specific things, or it might just have to reproduce that in every single image forevermore. So anyway, let's give it something to go with this then. So we're going to go to the website and we are just going to screen grab it, drop that in here. Right, scroll down. We want to get basically anything that's got some visuals on it. A screenshot of anything that's got visuals. The text, the plain text, no point grabbing that. So I don't want to grab this part because this is not the branding. This is not Connecting Pieces branding. This is screen grabs of social media. This part would be all right because that is Connecting Pieces branding. Let's have a look through the other pages. What else have we got? So we've got an about page. Is there any kind of brandy stuff on here? I say there's nothing really new imagery wise. We've got podcast. We've got a nice podcast cover. Oh, yes. We've got some new imagery here. Nice. Let's grab that. I like that. Let's grab this. I think that might be everything that we've got. And then on Instagram, we're not going to get the pictures of Jason's face. As lovely as it is, it's not really the point. I'm going to get these. There we go. We got them. And so you want to go through anywhere that you've really got a bit of a picture of your brand and what it looks like, and any imagery that you've created. Another place that you could have a look is in your Canva. I mean, if I open up my Canva, I've got loads of bits and bobs in here that I could just get a page up like that, perhaps, and screenshot that. Instagram's a good place. Maybe your business page. You just want to think anywhere that you've got images. Your YouTube channel could be a good place. If you've got any brand images anywhere, anything that you've got. Anyway, there is imagery that we can analyze, and it is going to start creating a brand aesthetic guide for us. We're going to generate some images. So we are going to go over to Gemini and ChatGPT. We're going to have an AI off in a sec and see the images that we create, like what kind of images that we can come up with. But first, let's just have a look at this. A high contrast, bold, direct response aesthetic, heavy black backgrounds with punchy red accents and crisp white text, chunky condensed, all caps sans serif headlines paired with occasional handwritten script for emphasis, gritty textured paper backdrops with distressed off-white lettering on the social tiles, urgent, energetic, no nonsense, slightly aggressive marketing tone. Jason's going to love that. Maximalist and loud. Built to grab attention and convert. One thing worth flagging, this aesthetic is the opposite of your own brand direction. Yes. Okay, no worries on that. I will say this is for a client. With that worry aside, can you please recreate the brand aesthetic prompt? I love what you've got there, but you need to add in hex codes for colors and fonts and any details that are going to help us to use this as an insert into any graphic generation prompting that we do in the future. Okay, so now we've got the block that we're going to add into the prompt. So brand aesthetic, high contrast, bold, direct response style, color. We've got colors here. We'll find out if they are right when we create something. Distressed title text, warm off-white cream, subtle warm ember orange glow on dark red backgrounds. Typography, headlines, chunky condensed all caps sans serif, heavyweight, e.g. Anton, Bebas New. Tight letter spacing, large scale, high impact, emphasis, accents, occasional flowing, handwritten script. Body, clean medium weight sans serif, texture and treatment, gritty crumpled paper. Now here's where we need to be careful, because when you have details like gritty crumpled paper, what can happen is that you get 50 images in and you're like, why has everything got bloody paper on it? Like, we need a bit of variety. So one thing I'm going to come into here, do not be too detailed in a way that is going to skew the prompt and cause it to be producing the same thing over and over again in terms of background textures or objects or anything that is too specific. I want you to focus on creating a brand aesthetic guide that is going to enable the AI to creatively think about how to specifically represent that within the parameters of what the look and feel and vibe should be. The only specific parameters that you definitely need to include are colors and fonts and overall aesthetic, but do not get too specific in terms of background textures, objects. Otherwise, it will want to put those in every image it creates. Quickly copy this. Let me pop that in there. Press enter. Okay, let's come into this and go, and here are the specific fonts. Save. Okay, cool beans. We're going to open up 2 image generation tools. The first one is Gemini. If you have Google for your business, you may not realize that you have Gemini included in that. And then the other one we're going to come to is ChatGPT. I only keep it for images because it's great for images. Okay, so we have the brand aesthetic guide. We are going to just now assume that that's wonderful because really we don't know how it is until we test it. So what we're going to ask for is, can you create me a poster to promote an upcoming event called Funnels? Let's call it How to Build a Funnel. That's a great name for a training. Upcoming is on Thursday, 25th June, 1 p.m. UK time. Use this brand aesthetic guide. Okay, we're going to copy that same text and we're going to come into ChatGPT and we're going to post the same thing. Another thing that we can do is come back into image idea generator. I've got this really cool image idea generator that relies on you having a bit of copy already. Oh, hello. Can we get this out of dark mode? Light. That's better. Okay. It's very large, very tall. It's very full of words, isn't it? Okay, what did ChatGPT do? Wow, Gemini was faster than ChatGPT. Interesting. Okay, we're going to come into Claude and we're going to drop this prompt I've got in here. I'm going to give it to you guys in the playbook. But basically what it's doing is we've got the brand aesthetic guide that we're going to copy and paste into this placeholder. And then on the other placeholder we're going to paste a bit of copy and we're going to grab that bit of copy from one of Jason's Instagram. Oh no, there's no copy on there. Any copy on here? There we go. So wondering what to come up with in terms of images for social media posts. It's a big pain in the butt, right? So this prompt is really cool because now you've got your brand aesthetic guide. We're going to put the copy that we want to use there. And we've got the aesthetic guide here, and we've got, with reference to the following brand aesthetic guide, I want you to come up with an idea for a square image to accompany the following copy to post on social media. The priorities are to match the brand, grab attention, and stop someone who would be perfect for this post in the scroll. Aspect ratio square, brand aesthetic guide is here. So we're going to drop that in. And Claude is now going to come up with image ideas for us that we're then going to drop into Gemini and ChatGPT in a minute. But yeah, so this is the one that ChatGPT created. Gemini created. I don't like it. It's hurting my eyes. It's focusing way too much on words. Oh, this is better. This is much better because we've got a bit of imagery there. It's not just like loud text. So that's nice. Attract, engage, nurture, convert. Turn strangers into paying customers. Okay, cool. So what do you reckon, guys? I reckon ChatGPT won that round over Gemini. Most definitely. Absolutely. See for the win. Okay, now we have a new concept to go with this copy. Now, the post that I've grabbed from Jason's Instagram, you already have people out there who would gladly follow your lead if they could just see you. Most coaches forget that visibility isn't a bonus, it's part of the work. One post, one comment, one message can shift everything. So what's the one simple thing that you can do today to move yourself into someone's awareness? It doesn't need to be fancy, it just needs to happen. Show up for the people who are already hoping someone like you exists. Nice. Love that. So what it's come up with, the visual hook, a phrase that stops the scroll, naming the problem out loud. Black background, the headline dominates the top 2/3. They're already looking for you. They just can't see you. Nice. Okay. The only thing is, let me just edit this prompt a bit because I think it's coming up with something that it's capable of creating. I've just added in, this image will be created by ChatGPT or Nano Banana, so full AI image generation capabilities are present. Reason being is I think Claude was thinking it would be producing the image and therefore is doing a prompt that would just be some basic text on background, CSS styling, HTML type thing. So now it knows what it's creating this idea for. It should hopefully come up with something a little bit more creative and something that will be a bit more challenging. And it has. Core idea, the invisible coach made literal. The image is a dense, dark crowd of faceless silhouettes. The audience already out there, all subtly turned and looking in one direction towards a single empty, spotlit space where a figure should be standing but isn't. Okay, interesting. Here's the generation prompt. Let's grab this. Do we need to give it I don't think we need to give it the brand aesthetic guide. I think it's included that in the prompt. But let's see. We'll do one with and one without. and see what happens. Why would we do anything else? So let's do that. And then let's go duplicate tab. Let's just hit new one just in case we're going to break something. And then I'm going to go brand aesthetic guide. And then we're going to paste that brand aesthetic guide. Oh, spoiler alert. We'll come back and have a look at that in a minute. And then I'm going to copy this prompt and we're going to go ChatGPT, new chat. I'm going to do the one without the brand aesthetic guide first. Why is that not working? Okay, it's fine. Can I go open in a new tab? Yes, I can. Happy days. And then we're going to do the one with the brand aesthetic prompt second. So we've now got 4 tests. Let's see what we get. So number 1 is in. They're already looking. Where are you? Visibility isn't a bonus. It's the work. All right. Don't love it, to be honest, straight off the bat. I mean, the concept of the silhouettes looking at a spotlight with no one in it is cool. It's just not, for me, it's like, it's all right. We've got the same thing with the aesthetic guide, except for, no, we've got exactly the same thing, haven't we? Although it does look a bit better, like just in terms of my absolute obsession with spacing and fonts and all the rest of it, I would say that looks slightly better than this, but it's the spacing thing. It's nothing else. This is ChatGPT number 1. I actually prefer that. It's a bit more eye-grabbing than that. And then number 2 with the prompt is, oh, there we go. So interestingly, adding the brand aesthetic guide has done nothing at all, which is great because it means that we can come up with an idea. We can give the brand aesthetic guide to the idea generator and not need to include it. So that's a nice bit of thing that we found. But what we can tell, because we've got 4 that are basically exactly the same, the prompt is so detailed, it is calling for exactly reproducing what it's asking in terms of like what the prompt is. Now that can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing. There are pros and cons to that. The good thing is you're going to get consistency from using that prompt. The bad thing is if you don't like it, you need to change the prompt. Like there's nothing that you can really do about it once you don't like it. So we could go, okay, don't like that image. Give me a few to play with. Fine, whatever. And we've got a few. Okay, so we've got the empty chair, phone screen is the whole frame, pure bold typography, matches the example tiles. And then we've got the open door, light spilling out. Let's just go to town. Do you know what I'm going to say? I'm getting rid of Gemini. Goodbye, Gemini. We're going to stick with chat because as per usual, for me, it wins. In terms of producing great images, I prefer it. Every time I do both, I always end up preferring chat. Its image generation is great. So we're going to try that one and then we're going to come back and get the next one. And it really is just at this point, more than anything else, about rigorously testing your aesthetic prompt. Is it producing what you like? Is it producing your brand how you want it to be? Because once you've done that test and you're like, yeah, okay, I like it. It's producing stuff that is on brand, that looks like us, that feels like us, then that prompt is something that you can use for everything. Are you creating a downloadable PDF? Add that brand aesthetic guide to the end result and get it to redo it in your branding. Are you creating a poster, a YouTube banner, YouTube title, all the rest of it? And once you've got that down, you can essentially use it for absolutely everything. Step into the light. Someone's looking for you. I like that. This is a bit squashed at the bottom. It's not your best work, ChatGPT. Obviously you can say what I just said. A bit squashed, not your best work. Who out there is excited to be my employee? This is nice. I like this. One post can change everything. I really like this because the image is overlapping with the text, but it's not taking away from the text. It's that it works. And I really like that. That's my favorite so far. That's a bit boring, isn't it? The seat is yours. So we've got 1, 2, 3 being recreated and 4. My favorite's definitely 2. I really like that. And so create a brand aesthetic guide. And now once it's there and it's done and you're like, okay, great. You want to save it somewhere and then reuse it for stuff. Anything that you're creating, your website, your PDFs, your worksheets for clients, just anything and everything that has a visual stamp on it, then you can, no, it's not getting the memo on that, is it? Well, that's fine, but never mind. I could have been more specific in my reply, to be honest. but I'm not going to bother. I prefer the other one that we have. So there we have it, your brand aesthetic guide. Once you've created it, you can then either use the image generator for, you've got your copy and you need an image to go with that post that you've written. You can use your image generator to come up with ideas and post it with that. Or of course you can use it to brand things and make things look good. And there's all sorts of stuff you can use it for. There's images in here, but then there's also stuff like, I don't know if you've heard of Notebook LM. And Notebook LM is really cool. And it's essentially a thing that you can put sources in and get it to create slide decks, mind maps, etc. Rebellious Business Playbook. Now, Notebook LM has made me a video about the Rebellious Business Playbook, but that's not my branding at all. So what I could do is create a new one. Yeah, let's go slide deck. Well, I can also click on that and I can edit it and I can say, okay, make this on brand. Here's my brand aesthetic guide. And I've popped the brand aesthetic guide in there. I can hit generate and it is going to take quite a few minutes to create this because it's based on 63 sources and it's going through everything and it's going to create it. But there's you know, loads and loads of slide deck generation systems. Even in Canva, you've got AI stuff in Canva now where you can get Canva to create stuff that is on brand. And, you know, I haven't really played with it that much, but you've got this new thing called Code inside Canva, which I think works a little bit like Base 44. And you can like generate a fun quiz. We can click on that and we can put, here is my brand aesthetic guide and pop that in there. And whatever it creates is going to be on brand with that brand aesthetic guide. Now, one thing I would say is make sure that the imagery part is the last thing you do, because you want to get the structure and then the substance and then the style last. That is your process: structure, substance, style. And AI is often trying to squeeze everything all into one job. Like if you went to Claude and you said, oh, I need to create a downloadable to walk my clients through the 5 steps of how to increase your conversions by going live on Facebook, then it's going to create the structure, write the copy and wrap it in a beautiful document all in one go. And then what happens is that the actual substance suffers because you crammed too many jobs into one thing and it doesn't have a structure to build the substance on. So you want to get it to map out the structure first, then fill in the substance. And when you're happy with the substance, you then style it with your voice and also with your visuals. By the way, if you want to know how to get a voice prompt to get AI to sound like you as well as look like you, I have a whole video on that and I will link it up in the top right hand corner on a card so you can go and watch that now if you want to create your voice prompt. So anyway, you can see here that it has created, you know, red and black quiz. So that's good. We've got version 1. And, you know, obviously you'd spend a bit of time making your quiz with Canva, but that's fun. We come back into Notebook LM. It's still making that slide deck. It's a real shame. It's going to take a while, but it is amazing. The video is a pretty cool example. And then we've got, what's this? This is I think this might be an infographic. There we go. So meet Cordelia, the rebellious entrepreneur. It's made this infographic about me. If I gave it my brand aesthetic guide, that would be pink and charcoal and, you know, all the different colors of the rebellious brand. Or if I gave it the new branding, it would be all those colors. So yeah, it's really fun. Like once you have that brand aesthetic guide, there's so much that you can do with it. I also did a video recently on how to create landing pages and how to create, I built a whole funnel with Claude. So I'll link you into that. And again, you need your brand aesthetic guide in order to do that well, so it looks like you. But of course, as I showed you, this website has all been built via me having a brand aesthetic guide. And actually, once you've got that, you can build a whole design system in Claude Design, which is really fun. Claude Design is basically a level up on you having a brand aesthetic guide. It creates a whole brand aesthetic system. So you've got your typefaces and how they look in CTAs, how they look on headers, how they look everywhere. And so, you know, you take that branding and you take it to a whole new level by giving it to Claude Design and it basically producing what your brand looks like in different scenarios. The color palette on different backgrounds, on dark, on light, on pink. And then we've got, you know, spacing and what the spacing should look like. And then once you've set this up, You can, of course, get Claude Design to create things for you. So a load of things that Claude Design has created for me is we've got, like, for instance, some social posts, a downloadable document, a branding guidelines document, so that I can hand this off to other AI and other people, like maybe a photographer, and give them, this is my branding and this is how it looks and this is how it feels and all the rest of it. So you can go even further and create all of this stuff. But even just having that prompt, it is going to be absolutely colossal for making your images look so on brand and so on point, so that everywhere you go, you're leaving your fingerprints on all the stuff that you're creating. The worst thing that you can do is leave people guessing. Is that you? Is this her brand? Is this not? You want to create that consistency. And the reason being is not because you're just going to lose people because they don't know if it's you. It's because consistency creates trust. If you have something that's consistent and it's always the same, you look like you've got your shit together and you look like someone who is reliable. It is like a subconscious signal for reliability. This person is always the same, always shows up in the same way, is always here. They are consistent, they are reliable. And what that does is it builds trust. That's why you want to have your brand aesthetic sorted so that everywhere you go, you can demonstrate consistency. And in doing so, you will build more trust with your audience. I hope that has been helpful. Well, that's all from me. Thank you for being here. I will see you again next week for another episode. Let me know if there's anything you want me to cover. Just drop it in the comments. But yeah, have a wonderful rest of your day. Lots of love. Speak soon. Bye.